Spiel Sat says, "Is my ledger created seed phrase safe? Running for 2 years now, but I don't know. The more I stack, the more I worry." This is a really good and timely question. Let's dive into this one a little. Well, as we wait, I'm sure it went through, but Proton Mail is a little bit slow. But let's dive into this because this is a really important part of things here. And I like the fact that you said I've been using it for 2 years now, but I don't know. The more I stack, the more I worry. This is something that we all need to be kind of conscious of right now because this is how this works. Let's say that you've been buying Bitcoin for, in this case, 2 years. You've been sending it from an exchange to your ledger, to your device, whatever that is. You're doing things as you should. And you haven't got hacked yet. But here's the thing. If you were a hacker and you had access to that ledger and somebody had been feeding it consistently for 2 years, would you sweep it so that they know that they're hacked and then they can find somewhere else to keep feeding? Or would you wait? Would you wait for it to keep going up and up and up? And then once it gets to a certain point, you swipe it. So the moral here is that even though you've done the right things, you've got a device, you've been sending Bitcoin to that device, and you haven't got hacked, that does not mean that nobody out there knows your seed phrase. Whether you had it on in front of your camera, there's a lot of scary things involved here. You had it in front of your camera, maybe you typed it into your computer one time and somebody had malware on there that actually has access to all your keystrokes. In your phone, same thing. And you're just completely unaware of the fact that somebody out there has access to your Bitcoin wallet and they're waiting for it to be swept. They're waiting to sweep it once. They're not dumb. You're feeding that thing every week. The balance keeps going up. Why would they sweep it now? So definitely something to consider for everybody out there. If you heard that story and you had kind of like a worried feeling in your gut, maybe it's time to just, buy a new cold card, buy a Blockstream Jade, buy a Passport, buy a Trezor, a new device to move everything over to, and know for certain, because in that 2 years it could have been exposed at any time along the way, whether it was a ledger update, a ledger issue, like I said, somebody seeing your camera, you writing down your seed phrase, anything along the way there, it could have been compromised and you have no idea that it has been. So my advice is, if you do have a significant stack, just buy a new one. Invest a little bit of your money, even if you have to sell a bit of Bitcoin. Take $200 or $300, buy a cold card, do it properly. Make sure that take every precaution, as in writing it down, putting it on steel, keeping it away from your cameras, not using a laptop that you've been using for the last 10 years and visited tens of different porn sites on it. Like, these are real things. These are real things. And it's so much different than the traditional system, where if somebody takes your money or somebody gets access to your money, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get that back from your bank. So we pay for that in the fees and insurance and the control structure of it. This is a totally different ballgame here. So you have to be at the top of your security game if you want to have your Bitcoin in 20 years from now. Because think about that feeling. You wake up, it honestly makes me sick to think about. But you went through all this time buying Bitcoin, learning how to store it, learning about Bitcoin, all these, and earning the Bitcoin itself. That's the hard part. Converting that money, that energy into Bitcoin. And in 10 years, you think you're sitting on a retirement fund, you're set for life, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and it's gone. Nobody can save you at that point. Nobody. So you have to be the person in charge here. As I said, if you're somebody who felt very uneasy listening to that and you're like, okay, well, I need to do something. Well, do it. Don't wait for something to happen and then change your strategy. Do it today or do it this week or as soon as you possibly can. And as I said, you're either going to have to invest some time or some money. Possibly both. And if you're somebody who isn't overly knowledgeable with that kind of stuff, then talk to somebody about it. I've been helping people for a couple of years now get Bitcoin, get it onto the cold card, go through the whole process of securing it. And there's different levels of it too, but there's a place to start, and you have to have that proper foundation there. So if you do need help, reach out to me. It's something that I think about 23 hours of the day, which is sad, but true. All right, look at this one. Our favorite company besides MicroStrategy. Semler Scientific purchases an additional 83 Bitcoin for $5 million, bringing its total holdings to 1,012 Bitcoin.